Hey everybody, don't know what happened there. We just had our new song. I think we're going to start it again. Let me do this. Just had a new song there, but it was cut off. Let's start it again, okay? How's everybody doing today? Let's try this. There you go. We're going to start over. Give me 3 minutes and we'll be back. All right, that's a lot better than we started on. Uh, I actually had a new version of the song. Medcaps have been in the studio, but I don't know what happened with it. I'll have to run through the test. Big shout out to everybody in the chat. Thanks for showing up today. We're here Monday, Tuesday, and Thursdays around 11:30 or so. You know the deal. Appreciate it. Yesterday was a pretty intense session. It was not a pretty session, and I think it's a really need to kind of come back to exactly where we are within all harmonic pattern frameworks of you know essentially looking at the levels that have to be there to formulate some kind of analysis. For the NASDAQ, after yesterday's sharp down day, we actually pushed a little lower on the open, tried to rally. Now we're rolling back down 12,235. We were as high as 12.5 this morning not too long ago. Take a look at the 5-minute chart on NASDAQ. Welcome to the bear market. This is what happens in bear markets. Up hard early overnight in the morning, and then just a rollover. Just another rollover. And amazing, you dropped 300. You're down 300 points from the open. And it's not even it's basically 2 hours into today's session. So, absolutely, you know, indicative of the climate we have been talking about for a while, a long while. The malaise doesn't feel like a malaise anymore. It feels like mayonnaise right now. Mayonnaise in your face. And again, the malaise can get pretty nasty in these bear markets, and it just took a while to develop. We started talking about the malaise really last fall of what's developing. So just quickly on NASDAQ again, I think because that's the clearest pattern we're dealing with at the moment. Massive crab pattern right off the top. And with this kind of price action, folks, we're going to target the hop level. Hop, harmonic optimal price at 11,848. That's one of our proprietary layered levels. That's the absolute make or break. And, it definitely gives us at least something to consider for this move, this rather sloppy consolidation. Check it out. I mean, there's terminal bar. Almost 2 weeks ago, we hit that number. That was all the way back on what? April 26. Now May 10. And tell me what it's doing, 30 bars from the terminal bar. Today's, as I said, day what? 3, 5, 7, 10 since the terminal bar, and it's down. Direction down. Very little progress. Interestingly enough, we can look at the terminal bar two ways. You can look at the top and the bottom range of it. We identify, and the software identifies the terminal bar as the bottom range because that tells us how much real world overspill, if you will, has occurred when you're hitting the zone. But in the same regard, just use that one single bar as your true consolidation range. Looks like this, And if this was a true type 1 reaction, especially this being a crab pattern, we would already be on our way up to target 1. So you're 10 bars in, you're much lower than your terminal bar. Looks like a deeper retest of the lower zone. And that just means more time within the predominant trend. If this was a bearish pattern, and I'm going to look at a couple bearish patterns today, we would still say more time before any kind of reaction can be realized off of this pattern. At this point, the fact that we do not have any harmonic strength index variable here, really would prefer to see some kind of indicator at this level. We do have amplified trying to come out of this zone, but harmonic strength index, nothing's there. So any pop, any counter rally that may occur from here is going to be a reaction until further notice. Until we can get down there and trigger some kind of reading. Absolutely a tough spot where you want to be with if you're looking for confirmation. And then I wanted to bring this up on the weekly because the weekly seems to be in a closer spot, at least, where it's trending lower. Looks more demonstrative in terms of its desire to come down and actually give us an eventual oversold reading. But that is probably a week to 2 weeks away. You need to come down into this area here and then pivot out. So next Friday, I don't see that happening this Friday. I don't see the weekly bar on this bar hitting all the way oversold and then give you a return out of the extreme. If you look at the last time we tested that low reading was October. We were in a clear trending situation where that HSI actually a much better spot here as a continuation signal. Especially looking at something like amplified RSI, which barely hit the 50 level and then went back up. That helps to understand where your RSI variable is and HSI, because this is going to be a different reading treatment than, say, something that is expanding in the extreme. Amplified RSI is still moving lower on your weekly basis, and HSI hasn't even tested. You should read that as being early. Much on the same way we had on the top side. Remember this? There's the weekly HSI back in early November with that signal, and it connected and linked up with a bearish complex amplified RSI reading, which is better confirmation. Having 1 and 2 indicators that line up much better in terms of determining the reversal than, say, if you didn't have it. So currently we don't have anything. We're still going to go lower. Might, again, what we'll be transitioning to be more short-term time frame stuff like this on 5-minute. Looking for those swings, looking for, even in down markets. I mean, this morning we were down and managed to rally back up, but it was simply a lot of zigzag stair-stepping lower with some of the larger HSI signals acting as your short-term pivot points. One thing to look at that I think is helpful when we're dealing with such a trend, if it's straight up or straight down, this being straight down, take a look at, say, where HSI and amplified link up on a 4-hour time frame to get an idea of how far it has moved. Yesterday was really a consequence of simply the last 4-hour HSI signal here, back on the 5th, and we've been down, straight down since then. There's a number of issues here, but another way to look at this, I'm going to remove all the arrows. Harmonic Strength Index, that's our proprietary harmonic indicator. And we like to link it up with the terminal bar. And so, if we have something like a big sun icon, and then we get an HSI signal, okay, from a pattern completion standpoint, we know we have something in terms of reaction. Even though that 4-hour pattern in NASDAQ way back in April didn't yield much more than a dud kind of sideways pause. But that's how we're trying to put together the patterns in HSI. But if we've clearly failed, which we have, then the continuation within the predominant trends, those signals like that, especially on a 4-hour time frame, are critical, are extremely significant. And here's the hop level. Just draw that out. I mean, that's clearly the failure started right there. But the HSI helps to trigger where that acceleration can happen. And then now we're just negotiating with this little 4-hour signal around 12,320. You're trading 12,260 at the moment, but not surprised to see a little bit of a pause. And this is the kind of thing we will be looking for all summer long. If on your bullish readings, these are bullish readings that are against the bearish trend, is you might get an oversold condition on the 4-hour, and it only leads to a reaction up. And look at these. Check back, reaction up. And that's really the way to analyze it. Here's something that triggered, it checked back, and then 8 hours later or 6 hours later it fails. It should not, once the check back occurs, you should see some kind of movement. Really should not close under that check back low. You might have a few tests here, but again, these are just temporary steps up as you're stepping lower on the larger time frame. And so again, we're close to some kind of counter trend rally. Absolutely. For now, I don't think it's going to be anything significant because I prefer to see this hop level on NASDAQ get clipped at 11,848 and then give me a trigger. That would be something that sets up for maybe a June rally. And I will outline it like this, where I wouldn't be surprised to see, once we get down here, a strong counter trend rally that gets you to the target one. And then later this summer, we have the larger rollover dump down. And that's a big move, but it's only going to be a reaction. It's just like what we saw back in March. 2-week rally up, straight up, and then back down. And again, it's going to be challenging because your up days are going to be strong and hard and a lot of points. And it might seem like it's the start of something, and then maybe a week later you continue to roll over. Weekly chart, much the same. I just think the weekly chart shows this scenario better, where actually it's actually uglier. We are dealing with, look at how many weeks down. 3, 6, week 7 down. This is the crab pattern for the daily, is essentially low end of the zone is like that, where we've already completed the crab by definition, but how much overspill are we going to see on that daily chart? The final piece of possibility, if you will, is kind of looking at what's the ABCD, something like that. Let me do that again. A minimum A to B, off the low up to C point, and then your exact ABCD. That is at 11,321. 11,321 for an ABCD right off the top. So the crab pattern we're looking at on the daily, that's kind of a minimum objective, somewhere around the 12,000 plus minus 100 points is where we should be looking for counter trend move. But the daily or the 4-hour time frame, go back to the 4-hour time frame. If the weekly has to go lower and there's nothing here on 4-hour, yeah, I mean, we could look at this hop level. Let me clean this up because this is on the 4-hour. We have one possibility of where we might bounce, which is this rather long overextended hop level. Looks like this. Let me remove the bat so we can just isolate. The only thing on the 4-hour chart that I would be looking at, which is a hop level at 230. And why is that? Because the 4-hour time frame, this is going back to the March low, did this kind of looping big thrust up, then all the way back down. So, again, I would have to say that 12,330 today, you'd have to see a close above that, which it could. And you do have a 4-hour, check out the 4-hour confirmation on NASDAQ futures. You have the check back, everything you want to see. So that makes this current low incredibly significant. You fail the current low, then it's immediately to the hop. You're trying to at least get some kind of bounce after yesterday. If you don't get anything here, if you can't even get a counter trend rally, 500, 700 points off of this low, it would be a real problem. I mean, again, that's where an immediate failure would occur. This is Again, your early stages of what I talked about yesterday of needing time to resolve the pattern completion, needing time to essentially give us a green candle or a few green candles combined with some kind of confirmation value. But we notice that we don't have any confirmation. If we're going looking at HSI, this has been my argument since we completed the pattern. And an easy way to do that, there's a great feature on all of the bring these back in on all of the platforms, but I like to show the vertical zone line. Click on this candle there, and that's going to draw a vertical zone line uh, from PRZ test, basically the low to the right there. We're looking to the right, and there's no, again, when you look to the right and you do not have any confirmation, the best you can hope for is a reaction. Do these move without confirmation? Can they move? Yes, but it's not our preferred executable scenario. If anything, you just some kind of short-term downtrend into the zone. It's just nothing there other than trying to catch a knife until you have some kind of confirmation that suggests otherwise. Really quick, let me highlight one or two announcements. So quickly jump over here, become a basic member. The thing I want to talk about today on harmonictrader.com is go to harmonictrader.com. I don't post there too frequently, but on the blog, let's go back here. Click on where'd the blog go? Here's the blog. So click on the blog. I put up the information of how to get with our strategy seminar for the 21st. Every person that attends must either own HPC or be an annual subscriber. If you're not, that's where you start. Click there and either purchase or subscribe. You will get a 1 month gold membership. If you're not a gold member or silver member and you already have the software, subscribe as a silver member. If you don't have the software and you want to get software on a monthly basis, become a gold. If you guys are already registered, just simply check the gold members. If you have access to the gold membership, you're in, and we will put the information there. Just make sure you are. If not, either upgrade as a member or purchase the program. We know who you are, and we're going to be sending you email information by the 18th. So I'll update this more on Thursday, but check out the Harmonic Trader blog and get information about the seminar. It's next Saturday. I really wanted to hold off until about 10 days before. Didn't want to drag this thing out. I want people to attend who are serious. If you can't attend on Saturday, the recordings will be posted in the Gold Members section, and there'll be much more to come on the Gold Members. So do check out all of that information. But again, everything that starts with the software. So get with either TradingView version or eSignal or all the above. I mean, I think you should have TradingView, and I think you should have one HPC Pro version. And if you're looking to purchase the HPC Pro package, send me a note. And especially if you've already purchased HPC for TradingView, we can set you up with a special deal. But everything I'm doing is with the automated levels, and everything we will talk about in that session will be how do we respond to these levels. We're not drawing anymore. I think what I talked about yesterday in Hex was, and go to Twitter and check out some of the posts on Hex, because again, that worked out quite well. And I made a couple comments. Some people are like, Hex is a scam. I don't know. I really don't know about crypto, and I've said that all along. I know about the trading price action. And I think some people, I got one or two emails who's saying, no, this isn't, it's not what the guy says it is. I don't know. I just know that if you're going to put together a crypto project and it can get that kind of adoption, so be it. There's something to be said for the people working at the in the crypto space to make things happen. But as traders, we're simply speculating. I think the last 2 months, if not last 6 months, have shown people that the narratives eventually get destroyed, and it's all about price levels. At what price? At Bitcoin's amazing, but what price? And that goes for stocks too. Your favorite stocks, Google, Microsoft, Tesla, whatever. What's the proper price? And so I deal with levels every day, and I just I deal with it on a price basis on market instruments. So let's jump over to crypto here. Let's look at what has happened to Bitcoin in the last 24 hours. Is that we did hit under 30,000 last night for a short, brief time. Looks like this. What did we get to? 29.5, 29.8, depending on your data feed. You're now trading 31. Yeah, there was 29.8, 29.7. Now trading 31.2. And what was down here at 30,000, just a static retest. Again, I don't, as I said yesterday, I'm going to wait for the mass capitulation event down at around 22.5. Let's look at Bitcoin futures really quick, because for me, that's the chart of the real price of the futures price, that is, of what we need to consider. I think it's shown us a number of great patterns. And now, interestingly enough, yesterday triggered a potential crab lower at 25.3 off of this most recent alignment. So I was saying that I would like to see a capitulation event, and it might take a few weeks. It might take 2 or 3 weeks into this zone, but I would like to see a hop level test at 22,542 of this daily pattern on the deep crab, going back to last June as a necessary event. Think of it as an event that the pattern has to connect. That's really a better scenario to find a bottom. Sellers completely puke it all out. They almost did yesterday. I would have loved to have seen that happen yesterday. It might have been the best thing for Bitcoin. Have like a $10,000-$12,000 down day, hit the hop level, and then start to work your way back up off of that capitulation. We did hit our 1618. That something is critical. Going all the way back to the crab PRZ, back here at 31.6. This is the beginning stages, I would say, of finally realizing a type 2. Looks like that. And you hit that. But that's the first requirement, if you will. Why BTC futures instead of Bitcoin spot price? This has been a development we looked at on the futures, really in the last few patterns that we've seen on the daily chart here. So it's been a good comparative chart as a baseline to the various data feeds of the spot price. If you've got Coinbase or Binance or Bybit or whatever, those prices might vary a little bit. With the futures, that represents more of a main market that gives us, it has given us some clear patterns. And 30,000 on the downside there's a whole bunch of things down here at 30 something thousand. The crab, the resolution of the crab, meaning the secondary retest, and what would it take to essentially satisfy this zone. It's like that. Hit that zone and confirm this whole harmonic area for your larger range between 30 and 60. And I think that's a capitulation move where you've just hit it now. So the next several days are incredibly significant. I would like to see that 22.5 area. For me, that would be a great structural event. Think of it that way. Definitely the type 2 scenario has begun with the test of 31.6, but in the same regard as even if it was the first time, I would say to you, tell me what's happening with your RSI variable, this being amplified, and tell me what's going on HSI at that area. We had a prior test, but that was too early, not in the right place. We want to see terminal bar hit, then HSI trigger. Doesn't the Binance Tether future have the most volume by far? True. I think it does, but still, look what happened to Tether yesterday. That was kind of crazy action, really crazy action. Here's, did that skew? Yeah, see that's the Tether action skewed the data a little bit versus the spot. You see how these are not the same? They're all like 29.8, 29.6. I think I saw one or two that were as low as 29.5. Let me see there. Yeah, currency.com. Some of the lesser ones got taken down a little bit more so. If you're on, let's say, a daily time frame, which you should be, the software is kicking out this thing. What is this? That blue highlight? Well, it is a crab pattern. It's a deep crab pattern. If we're going to connect dots off of that low, it's like this. At an 886 and then back down. 1618 on off of that March low, basically 30,700. But it may be a nominal pause bounce here. It's really not in a great spot. And we knew about this alternate bat that was the first pattern this thing was generating, and it rolled over. It's not, and until that blue line, that blue outline turns green, you have nothing. I'm just not really pleased about what you're seeing on, say, weekly charts. Here's Coinbase feed on the weekly. And this is technically, if you in any book, you would say that's a breakdown. You get a close under these lows, and that's probably the thing we're going to look for. Under 29,000, under 29,100. A weekly close under there will take you to 22. That was the other thought was, what's the next level underneath here? We highlighted a few. I was saying that after some of the more recent bounces there and there, that 37,000 was the real make break point, and that for me that has failed. Your 1.0 level off of that is, again, looks like a full retest of 29,000. But even if you were going to draw the 886 and say, all right, maybe this is just a retest of the 886, which is 33,800, tell me what it's doing there. It's breaking down. There's no individual bar reaction. We don't have any confirmation either. I mean, look at your, I'll have to fix this. Let me fix HSI again. Bring that back in. There you go. Here's HSI. Hitting the oversold right now, but as I said before, this is still another week away from being able to generate an arrow out of the zone, and you would still need a check back. So this is where you have to be really cautious, careful of how deep is this going to go. Are we going to flush, expand into the zone, which we very well could, because we're just hitting the oversold now. Keep an eye on it. Really keep an eye on that going into Friday. But the static price action and breakdown of breaking this uptrend is a challenge. It's a real challenge to grab onto something and say that's a low, or that's, this is just a little bit overspilled too far to the downside. No, I don't think so. Yeah, if I'm just going to connect dots, what are the possibilities? There's not a heck of a lot of possibilities, but if I was going to try to connect some dots here and say, what's possible off this immediate? Could it be some kind of shark? Maybe a 1618 down to a little bit more than a 113. And interesting that this 1618 off of off of the September low to high, that too is pointing to 22.5. So for me, is there a possibility of 27,000 before the bounce? Absolutely, but I would not. I would think it would be lower. If they can't defend 30, which is what we're looking at right now with Bitcoin, is an attempted defense of the psychological 30,000 level, and we roll over, and you could spend a couple weeks here. I don't think don't underestimate the fact that this will take time. Let me get better candles on there. Let me go back. There you go, Bitcoin. Gonna need more time. Let's see if that pattern can actually complete. It's not a nice structure. I mean, it's definitely suspect, and we've already seen one pattern fail to the point where we kick it up to the larger time frame. When that happens, your daily pattern fails, then you have to go to the weekly and then tell me what's going on the weekly, and it's not a pretty picture. You're down 7 weeks in a row. That's trying to capture a falling knife, and that's not advisable. Let's go to Ethereum quickly, because that too bounced 100 or so. But I'm more inclined to look at this daily chart. Where was that? Oh, here it is. So we have had this crab pattern. Again, another crab pattern that's the software is picking up, pulling off of not really a discrete high or low peak, or well, definitely a high peak, but the low peak that it's starting from is not really an extreme. But why would the software pick it up? Is because your B point and other ratio alignments set you up for an ideal harmonic reciprocal 1618 at 2460. So that is relevant, and a corresponding hop level at 1804, which is, after this failure, more so of the deep kind of retracement we could expect on the retest. Not to mention this butterfly that completed right above target 1 has just been a devastating reaction that has not yielded anything other than the structural retest of the first crab pattern there. So if yesterday was terminal bar, and if in effect, yes, We can think of this as a terminal bar. What are we going to get off of here? Can we get out of this zone? Come on, what's going on with that HSI? Don't know why that's not saving. There you go. So I would look for, as with all type 2 retests, I need to see confirmation at this point. The reason why is that this could be a delayed signal where the structural retest, it hits now, but we don't trigger harmonic strength index oversold for another, what, 5, 10, 20 bars even is possible. I mean, this thing could stretch out where you take at least 10 more days before you turn on the arrow. So I'm not too concerned with it. It happens in the type 2s where they take longer, especially this kind of looping type 2, because that was how many bars since terminal bar? Yeah, you're 120 bars, folks, 115 bars. There's 30. Sorry, that was 20. There's 30 bars. The first test done. But didn't hit target 1. That's where it hit target 1, which was 73 bars later. So think of it that way. Think of the fact that the type 1 took 73 days to hit its target. And even down here in the zone, how many days are there? Sideways before, what, 7, 8 bars sideways before you even get out of the zone. And the type 2 retest, that's going to take at least, I would say 5, 7, 8 days of bouncing in this area, basically between 22 and 24.50. Maybe even come back and retest yesterday's lows. You did that this morning, but you're going to need a consolidation phase at this point that can still take you lower in the zone until you get there. I want to absolutely focus on this Ethereum level, because if you get under 1804 and we don't find anything develop between now and, say, the end of the month, and we get an ugly monthly close, then I think you got a really long summer and much larger implications. I'm not going to go there quite yet, and I still think that Bitcoin could do a big capitulation, hit 22, and as this goes lower in the zone, Ethereum maybe goes to 18 as Bitcoin goes to 22. And that would be a target for the end of this secondary collapse, if you will, but it's not there yet. It's just difficult. It's difficult to be thinking even long or anything more than, say, a 1 or 2 day event, because you got stuff like Cardano, which, as I said yesterday and today, you had a 1 day bounce off of that low. You're at the hop level or under it now on what was a bat pattern, a very ugly bat pattern we mentioned early in the beginning of the year, towards the end of last year, and it did nothing. So this hop level, would that yield much? I wouldn't expect it. It's not the ideal pattern situation, and you don't have any confirmation on this retest. Now here's HSI all the way back. Many problems here. Many issues. There was, let me see here. Let's look at XRP. A real kick all the way down at this hop level, where forever our XA test around 70 cents was not too crazy to be expected. You've got even a weekly couple of weekly things in the 65, 70 cents area. You have this now on the daily, which looks like this for XRP. Came all the way down. You hit the hop at 47.48. You're now bouncing. Take a look at indicators at this level. You do have HSI that checked back. Amplified is trying to get out, but until that gets out, now that you hit the hop, that before that can even have any reaction, you got to get out of that zone, and it's ugly. I'm really surprised. I did think this would be would take a lot of time. Where's the week? There's the weekly. Here's that weekly crab. Your XA level was at 55. And I definitely think that, last 7 weeks down and now HSI hitting deeply oversold, you just have to wait on that until it comes out. I'm not saying I would jump on that. You would hope that something positive would materialize with this thing, but nothing's materializing. This sideways longer term action is getting to become a grind. There's your type 1. We've talked about that way back a year ago, and then it came right back for the retest. All right, your XA level at 55.70. It should do something. You hit, and here's where you hit. And here where we are now. I mean, we're 24 weeks, 23 weeks since that secondary test. So I would need to see HSI come out of the zone, amplified come out of the zone to stabilize, just to stabilize. And it's not, again, just not what you want to see. I would prefer to see that thing hold 60, hold 65, because we've had multiple tests of 55 already. Doesn't seem like it's going to happen. This is where things, again, your time frame fails or really becomes questionable. Then I have to go to say the monthly on XRP. If this doesn't hold, if 55 is the number. 55 is the number and it's not holding, well, then what's monthly 886? Yeah, I don't, again, 23, something like that. If we can't hold monthly candles, and you can't even get this thing to base and go sideways for 6 months, 8 months in this range, you have to step back. I mean, we have given this stuff so much time. And again, the altcoins like this was our play for Bitcoin to go sideways to up, if just sideways, and get altcoins moving. No, that's done. Here's Zcash on the daily. Yes, we have a bat pattern, and yes, off of that 886 because of the alignment, because your B point there is at a 50%, looks like this. All right, it's a B point, it's an X point there because B lines up with your 50. And that is what I like to call the true harmonic level. And then you get connect your dots for your bat pattern. But tell me what's happening on Zcash. Can't even get to a target one. I'm going to have to say, as we've seen time and time again, you're going to slide down to the hop level on most of these. $81. Sure, I'll look at Luna. Luna is basically what's wrong with this whole market. Luna was super encouraging and then busted out. I mentioned just how many sessions ago? 2 sessions ago, as we were coming down, that this Gartley would have to be retested at around $50. And look what happens. This is another way to work through the framework as it's happening, and we're going to be doing a lot of this summer, where we're going to lay out our next level targets, which we should do. Look at the session from yesterday, even, where we lined up the BAM scenario, that once that BAM scenario took off, the only thing to do was to shoot the gap and retest the Gartley. If we connected dots as well, it goes like that. X, your B points at a 56. I mean, that could be a Gartley. It's real close. That B point condition really does suggest that we could look at the 786 for the Gartley, but the ABCD off the top is more like down here at around 50. And tell me what it does on the terminal bar when it hits that level. Another thing to be thinking about, okay, yesterday, how would you avoid that? Well, when you hit your numbers, whatever the bar is, you have to wait for the bar to close. If it's daily, it's end of the day. It's a 60-minute, top of the hour. But that bar has to close because there is so much information in that single bar that's retesting. And incredibly, I mean, went back to 23 cents. Sorry, $23, not 23 cents yet. And you failed that hop level. So do you have any trigger here? No. You're oversold, obviously. Amplified's got to come up. HSI has to get out. And until that does, you're still expanding. There's nothing to do. This has been one of many that did the massive pops, and now we've got problems. LRC, it's just another one that went to, would this go to $4 in a massive run at the end of the year. Beautiful crab to the downside. Okay, and this is another good one. Here's where the pattern completes. Right there. The confirmation's coming before. Okay, one bar before you had confirmation, but really that's where the pattern completes. And I want to look for confirmation after the terminal bar. That's why that was so critical. And you did get kind of a blast off of that, but not much. Fair amount. I mean, 80 cents, 70 cents, up to $1.30. But that was it. Reaction. Now, where do we go? Hop level's at 29, folks. That's where I would look for it. I mean, I'm not interested. Not only because of the lackluster action, but we're down, deeply oversold, continuing to trend lower and lower. You have to break out. You have to stabilize. Don't have anything on HSI down here. I don't have amplified. You're in a real struggle where a lot of these coins could get absolutely eviscerated. I think it's feeling like 2017 all over again. UST and USDT just broke parity, got down to 70 cents. Yep. Look, maybe that's where the problems come. I don't know. But clearly these failures are saying that this is about as bad as it could be. You really don't have anything constructive in major places where you should. And until you get a big pattern development, major ideal confirmation, you really don't have much. I mean, you just my issue with this kind of action, when you're so depressed, you might get stuff like this. You might get these great crab patterns, and I would be looking for them. Nice 1.618s down that give you a strong reaction, but that's it. And I've been saying that just look for reactions. That's all you're going to get. And now, even on the 4-hour here for LRC, you're at the hop level around 60 with HSI. and all of that triggers around 58 cents. This got to what, 52 and change. But I wouldn't expect much more than a quick zip up. Quick zip up and then a rollover again, because the dailies have really just been destroyed. Your daily arguments for some kind of buy setup is gone. Let's take a look at Link. Link was another one that had all the promise in the world. It was going to be the next, it was going to be the JP Morgan of crypto, or at least one of the big banks. It was going to rival the big banks. Let's just look at what is the software generating. This is a crab pattern off the low on Link, but what's going on here? That's where you completed this throwdown 1618, and that was all the way back a year ago, May 22nd, and you got a type 1 reaction. You came back down for the type 2 return, and then you did make a secondary run that almost hit target 2. You don't necessarily have to hit target 2, but you want to get somewhere close to it with an HSI trigger, which what you had. And ever since that final test at 34, I mean, it's been straight down. This thing's trading $8. But if we're going off of measured levels, what we should expect, Link goes to $5.40. $5.40. And a lot of these seem to be doing all-time 886s anyway. It just feels like that's, even with your best patterns that we're trying to line up here, it's, you know, not easy just to keep going through these and say that, sorry, there's not, I would love to say there's opportunity here, but structurally you've failed a number of scenarios, and then you have to go up to your higher time frames where Link 886 is at $9. The weekly, all-time, monthly, it's probably actually even better on a different, probably on another, that's something that shows the longer term data feed, like Binance US. There you go. That's probably better. And there's Link. Where's the 886? About $6. Maybe 720. It's just not, even if we get down there, it's not going to be an opportunity until you can generate some kind of reversal, get something out of it, get an indicator oversold test to register and then come out, or HSI. But again, these are looking on a weekly chart 1-2 weeks away. They didn't hit yesterday. You almost wish they did hit yesterday. Had they flushed out yesterday, had a really big flush down, had Bitcoin maybe gone to 22,000 now, and then triggered the HSI setup, I would say, yeah, okay, it's something to go on. But we're not there. So still stay a step aside, and I'm not, for these, I'm not even I'm not interested in even trading it. Not even just interested in trading this stuff until it pops out, until we get a larger reset, retest, or Bitcoin does something, or Ethereum goes to 1800. We're getting a lot of strong reactions too that are, if you see a hop level that's looks like it's going to get hit, it's probably going to get hit. Really quick, I want to jump over to some crude oil, nat gas. Nat gas was down like 20-something% yesterday. And we had patterns up there on the retest Remember, it hit 9. That was our target all along, and it was a type 2 and was pummeled. Bouncing back today, your target one at $6.33. That's your minimum moving support. There, we might even get all the way down to 526 before we start our next step process. But on this one and Boyle, we had the type 1, and then we nailed the return. Back up for type 2. Now we're in the type 2 reversal. So that gas is probably going through that secondary type 2 reversal where you get back down to the mid fives. But does that mean that this is over? No. It just means it's another step in the process, much like we saw back in the fall. Kind of like that. Big thrust down. And we can even approximate that. And then you get going again. Maybe a thrust down. And then you keep going. Because we have the patterns there. Because the daily type 2, look at everything we talked about in the last 2 or 3 weeks. That's how it worked out. And that doesn't change. Remember the Boyle, that was even more pronounced. I mean, that was down 30 or something yesterday, but look what did up here. Terminal bar was 113. You got as high as 124. I mean, just amazing action. We know that this is that kind of an instrument, so I'm not surprised. Maybe you get down to 57 on Boyle again before you start the next leg higher. This is what I mean about trading, folks. When you get to your targets, you're going to have to take them. You can't hesitate. You just can't. You hesitate, then it was not. You're going to get stuck in this kind of volatility. Think reaction. I don't care short side or long side. We got to think reaction all the way. Do Kwon lost people's millions. What's up, Mitch? You had a great stream after mine yesterday. I caught some of that. That was really good. It was quite a day yesterday. Yeah, and the BitConnect guy 2.0, the Do Kwon. I don't even know what that is. What's the symbol on that one? Kwon Inu. If you have a symbol on that. Oh, that's a rug pull. What is that? I don't know what that one is, but I heard something about that. Bitcoin 631.3 right now. Let's go quickly look at crude oil. Oh, interesting. There's Apple, folks. Daily chart of Apple. It's a type 2, about to fail. What's wrong with Apple here is simply you already did your fast reaction on Apple. And while I have this up, I'll just show you. Before I get to the other ones, I'm going to wrap up here in a couple minutes, but there's your reaction. Back down. 146 is still my target on Apple. Here's your weekly, and that's why. Apple is probably the last to go. Ooh, not on that one. Let me go to TradingView. Here's Apple. Squeeze between 175 on the top side and 146, 147. Oh, there you go. You do have it. Interesting. So there's the crab pattern on Apple. This crab up to the hop at 175, 176. And our type 1 target, which we have yet to reach, is there at 146.71. I'll look for that to get hit on this move, and we would still be okay within the type 1 reaction for Apple. Apple, Microsoft will be the last two to go. And if this market's going to completely fall apart, Apple under 145 is what you want to look for. You fail that, and you fail much these levels currently, and you get under 146. There's really nothing until this lower level, about 135. Again, Apple is the leading stock, needs time. I think it's the last one to go. Let me go to, I wanted to look at crude oil and gold. Here's crude oil. There's the daily chart. Let me show the weekly. Look, ever since the 886, which was 125, okay, we have been in full pause mode. Well, full now bear consolidation, where this could do a big 382 pullback off the low if we don't turn around. I'm not there yet, but a big 382 move is $67, $66 if we start to fail under, what's that, under 95 or 93. Keep an eye on that one. Crude oil, go here on the daily. Clearly range bound, but any close under 93 bucks, and this is going to take much longer and probably have a stronger pullback than what we would expect. Best thing that crude oil can do is go sideways here and build, hold these lows, and try to start to turn up from here. Go sideways for another 30 days or so. I'm not crazy about it as much anymore because we did get like XLE, major rejection yesterday off of that failed breakout. And do recall the weekly's there. Too many of these. XLE right about 78 bucks. I think I mentioned that before, is our pause area. It's this range in the last 2 months. Keep an eye on it. We don't want to see that under 70 on XLE, or again, this pause that started with the 886 test is going to take more time. I'm going to show you one other one. I put this up yesterday and it rolled over. This is one of the best stocks, forever stocks, if you will, which is Altria. I mentioned this yesterday in recent sessions, and now look what happened. And I told you I took profits at 56, not everything, but more than half. And now today we get the massive breakdown. This is the issue with all patterns, that as great as any stock might appear, if you're dealing with a perfect correction, a perfect completion with confirmation, which this is with a check back, go to our session from a week or two ago when I really brought this up, that this is a place to be taking profits. Now we have the big meltdown. You're going to target one at 49.60 minimum on this move. It stinks because where are you going to hide? Where are you going to hide in this market when you're doing stuff like that? I don't think anywhere. I think you're in just a liquidation mode, even in your safest of stocks. Here's the other one. Again, this is just a quick follow-up on some real boring stocks that you would think, oh, these should be okay. These will weather the storm. Nope. Here's Hershey's. Just rolling over now, day over day. It's not continuing above your HSI trigger. Big crab pattern up to the hop level, 217. You trade as high as 230, but the confirmation exactly about 229. and this thing is triggering lower. A close under 216 gets this whole type 1 move going lower to target 1. The last one I want to show is Walmart. Again, another was somewhere where they were trying to hide out on daily, weekly. I think the daily time frame is actually better. Yep. Just coming off that shark right here at 157.70. Now trading under 150. Your target 2 is as low as 143, but this is a great spot where I want to look for some kind of stabilization in between target 1, target 2 to set up the larger return, because Walmart could come back one more time and then roll over again on the retest. That would set up your larger market decline, if you will. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that other, the Do Kwon. I think we were pretty clear about Luna, LRC, KNC, that were they going to continue the breakout or were they traps? It looks like they were big traps. All of these. There was one or more. Let me 1 second. Let me scroll through here. No. Which one? Well, really quick, here is the last one I want to look at, because I think the whole notion of what's going on, you're destroying narratives as we speak. You're destroying all of the dominant themes that have been happening for the last many years. And so the FANG narrative, we know Facebook's done, Netflix done. That's just a matter of time. Here's Amazon breaking down to new lows. Amazon and Google, as well as Apple, to complete the FANG group, are probably the top ones you want to focus on. That Amazon breaking down to new lows. What are we? Are we at new lows on the session since we started? NASDAQ. Oh yeah, we're right back where we were this morning. Oh, there's a nice little 1 minute Gartley, but I guess we started right about here at the low. Yeah, here for today. That's a 1 minute Gartley right now, but I'll tell you, this is in return mode. Go back to the hop level at 163. Don't even talk to me until we're 30 or 40 lower on the futures now, this afternoon. This is the problem with the big daily chart. This is the problem when you're sitting in a big PRZ like this, a crab, beautiful crab, but you're doing nothing but fail, no progress out of the zone, and you go lower. We got a target hop, and that's 400 lower from current levels. I won't even consider this until that clicks or it hits, and then we get a bullish bar. This isn't done. That's really the takeaway of what's going on here. We're stair stepping lower, and just because yesterday and the last few days were nasty doesn't mean today ends it by any stretch of the imagination. I think we need to see a larger capitulation. NASDAQ, S&P, Dow, and when you're failing like Amazon's failing, you're going to new lows the day after, and you can't hold. Again, you're in acceleration phase, and you go to the weekly chart. This was the thing we talked about yesterday. Go to the COVID low off of Amazon. Again, I'm looking for big companies that can serve as clear harmonic examples of, if we connect dots, what are they? Amazon's is a bat pattern at 1800. It's trading 2150. B point set of 50 sets you up for this being a BAM breakdown like that. accelerating the CD leg to the 886. So we still have room to go, room to run, and that's again, we have not been in a situation like this probably since the COVID crash, and the COVID crash wasn't even as bad. The COVID low on a lot of these was a really quick 1 week, 2 week affair, and then and a turnaround. This is a breakdown by definition to where you look at your immediate levels. Most of them are screaming 886s. And I don't want to jump in front of any of that until things actually shake out. And I don't see them shaking out today. If yesterday was a capitulation, we wouldn't be lower. This would be at least holding and starting to move higher. And for me, with the crypto, it's again, these 1 day moves are really difficult to jump on. I'd be more inclined to just let this crypto market shake itself out to the end of the month, and then we'll see if we get any opportunities lower. I feel that it hinges on that Bitcoin chart. It really does. Today we started with NASDAQ, but again, for crypto, I do think we can circle it back to Bitcoin futures. This is BTC pound F, looking for a capitulation here, looking for that breakdown. And again, as I said, what our example in 2019 looks like this. This is where I'm going to wrap up on that. We're halfway through. We're halfway through the decline, if you will. If we're comparing it to 2019, okay, we just hit the 1618 level right there. That 1618 level was at 7,000. Our current 1618 retest level is 31,600. Okay, the 1618 at 7,000 did not bottom until you were at 4,000, 4,200. It seems like a large distance to overrun a pattern, but we deal with zones. Okay, potential reversal zone, and that is more like that. If 5,000 from 2019 is now 22,000 in 2022. That's the thing we want to look for. Again, the capitulation, and again, to start the stair-step process even up, you would have to hit the level, and this is 5, 6, 7 days before it starts the march back up. And that's, I feel like, where we are on the current situation. You're here, probably falling a few more days down to the hop. So let's see where we are come Thursday. Again, it's going to be an eventful week. I'm day trading. That's all I'm doing. I'll talk about that on Thursday. But folks, go over to Harmonic Trader, please. Get with the software. Get with everything that we do. HarmonicTrader.com. There you go. Become a basic member. And then get information about the course next Saturday. Go to the blog, and I'll be posting more about this in the days to come. Plenty of time. If you haven't tried the software, please at least get with the free trial. You can take a 2-week free trial, but believe me, before the course, you'll know that you need the program. You need the program no matter what. And as I said, go through all this material, and it's where to begin. And then get ready to subscribe after you've had a little time with it. So we'll come back on Thursday around 11:30. Thanks, everybody. Great session again. Just be careful out there. Just be extra careful out there. And again, if in doubt, stay out. Nothing wrong with just waiting this thing out on the sides. And I will, for me, I'm going to stick to my targets and what I'm seeing here, which is there's plenty of time before anything develops. And in the meantime, the predominant downtrend will persist. So appreciate it. Until Thursday, folks, have a great one. Go get them.